Hey, good afternoon. LinkedIn friends, YouTube friends, thank you very much. This is actually first in a series of webinars that I'm going to be doing. I had a request from several new agents. What would I do to start out? And I thought, I'll just go through what I would do if I had to restart in the real estate world. This is where I would start. And I'm going to go through a 30-day blueprint. I'm going to do these webinars a couple of times a week. This week, I'm starting out on Wednesday. Schedule, we had a mishap with time zones yesterday. So we pushed that to today, Tuesday. And then we'll do another one on Friday. But after that, we're going to be doing these webinars on Mondays and Wednesdays at noon. And we'll continue to do it for the foreseeable future, just doing different lunch and learns with regards to different things that I'm having success with and ways to try and pay it forward inside the real estate community. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is John Collins. I've been in real estate. Actually, I just looked at it. It was 38 years now. So I have worn many hats, started out in real estate in the 80s and did well there, enjoyed it, but selling real estate and raising a family didn't really work well. So I actually pivoted in the late 80s, early 90s, I think, over to the mortgage world and spent probably about 20 years, a little over 20 years in the mortgage world. So from there, started my own mortgage company with another gentleman. We own a title company. So wore a lot of hats along the way. And as a result, you pick up a fair amount of knowledge just hanging around the industry. And I've also been somewhat of a technology junkie. So just seeing what's on the horizon from an AI standpoint and all the tools that we have at our disposal today, I tend to try and implement as much technology in my business as I possibly can. So that's kind of like a brief overview of what I plan on sharing with you over the next 30 days. But I promise you, I want to keep these to 25 minutes. So what I'm going to do today is just give you a quick overview of what we're going to be covering over the next 30 days. So with that being said, I'm just going to jump right in. Okay. So like I said, 30-day blueprint for new agents. Most of these, I'm going to stream these to LinkedIn. They're going to be a LinkedIn Live Lunch and Learns. And beyond the 30 days, like I said, I'm going to continue to do these, offering different tools, things that I find as productive in the real estate world, things that I'm constantly adding and trying out in my business. So we're going to call these our LinkedIn Lunch and Learns. In addition, I do stream all of these webinars to YouTube. And I do webinars on Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock for the masses. This is just my own professional sleeve of business. I tend to teach renters how to purchase with very little money out of pocket using down payment assistance programs and grants. I actually created a website for it called owntheroof.com. And we're actually developing an application that people can download and see how many different programs or grants are available in whatever areas they're looking in. There are over, I think right now our database is over 3,000 down payment assistance programs and grants across the country. So the money out there is plentiful if you know where to look for it. So with that being said, let's get right into this. Okay. So like I said, we're going to do these Mondays at 12 and Wednesdays at 12. This week is the exception. Okay. Any types of questions you have out there, please never hesitate to throw those in the chat box or just reach out to me through LinkedIn. Always happy to answer any questions you have. All right. So today, market overview 2026. Boy, it's somewhat hard to say right now. Different areas of the country are going through different transitions. Some areas are struggling a little bit. I'm located in southeastern Michigan. We still have a decent climate, but that climate, in my mind, is driven by the lack of inventory. So we are seeing rates dip a little bit over the past week. Not anything that I would write home about. I know there's always people that proclaim that they're not doing anything till the rates come down. I question their sanity on that. And I feel like if you are an agent, you should too. I always tell people, if you want to wait for the rates to come down and enter the market with the masses, and overpay for houses, more power to you. In my mind, you want to swim upstream on this. You do not want to go with the masses if you want to gain any type of value. And in my mind, the money is to be made on the purchase price, not on the exit, because it's going to go up regardless. So, but right now, the average interest rate on a 30-year mortgage across the country is actually at 7%. So, oddly enough, we're now down below 6. So I don't know that we're seeing the market tick up yet, but remains to be seen. So right now, 2.5% interest rate from 19, illustrating significant increase. So we're not seeing, there are people that are talking about interest rates dipping down into the 3s or 4s. I think that's highly optimistic. I don't know that we're going to see that again, at least not in my lifetime. It took, when you think about it, it was the 50s for it to get back down below 4%. So, that took 60 years. So to think that we're going to be dipping down there again, again, I think that's highly optimistic at best. So there's also reports that 60% of the buyers impacted by rising rates and say that that's influencing their decision. I feel like they're missing the boat. I feel like they're misled. Like I said, if they're thinking or waiting for the rates to drop, that's fine. But I'm wholeheartly believe that that's when the floodgates are going to open and we're going to see prices spike up. So a lot of these things that I'm not going to touch on today because they're more interest rate driven, and I'm not here for interest rates. I'm here to sell homes. So right now, we are seeing that the inventory levels are adjusting a little bit. The current inventory levels are at 2.5 million. It's about a 15% year over change. So they are increasing on a monthly. Spring, they're anticipating a 25% increase in inventory and possibly a 30% decrease over next winter. So the percentage of homes sold within the first month is 10%. Wow. So that is actually a pretty low number right now. The number that I tend to focus on are the buyers that are actually entering the marketplace. So right now, in my mind, the most staggering number is the average age of the first-time home buyer approaching 40 years old. That's almost, in my mind, that's insane. When I first got in the business, I think it was 28 years old. So a 12-year shift in what is a 38-year cycle, that's unbelievable. So I know that there are discussions being had in Washington to find a way to attack that, because basically what it's doing, it's creating a larger wealth gap than is what is healthy. So I am encouraging everyone, please do not let money hold you back. There is so much down payment assistance and grant money out there that I feel like money is the easy part, at least for me. So I know that that tends to be the biggest hurdle or objection that most people toss out there. So I always tell people, get in tune with some of those programs and pull that off the table. There's no reason to let money hold you back. The quicker you get in, the quicker you are building wealth. Now, with regards to that first-time home buyer, 60%, basically, they're looking for payments. They're looking for affordability. They're looking to purchase in suburban areas. They want a short commute to work, if at all possible. And 75% of them are looking for really nice outdoor living spaces. So keep that in mind. So right now, in my mind, the person that can dial in to those first-time home buyers, and what I mean by first-time home buyers, typically, I'm looking at the Gen Ys and the Gen Zs. They are the ones that I feel like are going to change these numbers dramatically. I feel like half of the Gen Ys and Zs want to buy and they can't. And the other half can buy, but they just don't want the responsibility or the headaches that go with home ownership. But what they do want is they want to establish some wealth. So I find that maybe educating them on the benefits of investing in real estate is another avenue. So, and I'm going to go over different sleeves that I think people could possibly build businesses around. And again, this is all about the first 30 days for new agents. So, uh, now short term versus long term opportunities. Okay. We're going to focus on both of those topics during these next 30 days. So, when I say short term topics, I want to give you some wins so we can create a fair amount of inbound traffic. Okay. That's what I'm about. I am not and never have been the guy to pick up the phone and make all of those outbound calls. I have a lot of respect for people that do that. I just know that that window is closing. Okay. The do not call list and everything that's going about it. Nobody answers their phones. The amount of spam that's going on out there, making those calls is harder and harder. I think the last number I saw was 1 out of 17 or 19 calls is actually gets through to a buyer or seller. And to get them to engage after that is still at about 3%. So you got to make a ton of outbound calls. So I feel like with some of the legislation that's out there, I feel like that window is going to be closing even sooner. So my model is all about inbound traffic. Okay. I put a lot of educational content out there and educate people on first-time home buyers, grants, down payment assistance programs, how to structure deals to get in with just a few $1,000s out of pocket, things like that. You can imagine those topics resonate with first-time home buyers. So if I can show a first-time home buyer how to purchase with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket, it's a pretty easy conversation from there. And that's what I base my webinars on that I do on Wednesdays. So, but that's kind of like medium term opportunities. Now, some of the long-term stuff, which I think is where the industry is heading, or what I should say is where AI is driving it, is another conversation. Okay. So, so what I want to introduce over these next 30 days is number one, what kind of ads can I post to get some quick wins right away? Because, hey, I just got in the business. We got bills to pay. So I'm going to show you where I would place ads, what type of ads I would do in Marketplace to get that inbound traffic calling in or messaging you through Facebook Messenger. Okay. So there's ways to post ads in the rental and purchase area for renters. Why rent when you can purchase with very little money out of pocket using these down payment assistance programs and grants? Anytime I would run those ads, my messenger, my phone would light up, the messages would light up. I would get a lot of inbound traffic. I take those leads, kind of pre-qualify them a little bit, send them out to lenders for pre-approval. It's not uncommon by posting, 10 ads to think about it. You get 10 ads up, you got 10 calls coming in, you got possibly 100 leads coming in the course of a week that you can sift through. Chances are you are going to find 2 or 3 people that will qualify for some of these DPA programs and grants, and you can get them out and sell them houses. Now, what's nice about those is a short-term sales cycle. Okay, those people are coming from rentals, looking for another rental. So boom, you can usually turn those very quickly. As far as the mid-length ones, those are more my webinars that I do. I'm going to go over that obviously later in our course. And then there's the long-term opportunities. I feel like the way AI is changing the real estate world right now, I think you need to figure out what part of real estate you want to focus in and be that educating authority. Okay, the quicker you can do that, the quicker you can build all 3 pillars to a business. And I'm a big fan of pillars. Okay, number 1, your sphere of influence. We're going to talk about that. You've got to build your sphere of influence, get that database together. And I'm talking email, phone number, and their physical address. You need to get that together so we can build a moat around that database because AI is coming. Whether you realize it or not, the big boys are about to start knocking. And when I say the big boys, I'm talking about the Rocket, Redfins, and I'm talking about Zillows. They are already programmed into the AI bots. Okay. So when your customer goes out to, be it Chat GPT, OpenAI, or Claude or Grok, and says, hey, I'm looking for a house in whatever, Nashville, and I want a house with 3 bedrooms, 300,000, and it will tell them all the houses that are available. No longer needs you. Okay. So you have to understand that with AI coming, there's going to be a percentage of the market that is going to go away. That being said, I feel like you're going to see margins compressed. Now, look at it this way. I feel like that is the vanilla business. Okay. That's the business for people that can push a button, get a mortgage, push a button, buy a house. Okay. I don't personally want to play in that market because I know those margins are going to get compressed. Okay. For me, I want to find opportunities for long-term sustainable growth. And with that, you need to find a niche. Okay. Be it foreclosures, probates, you name it. There's tons of them out there. Happy to go through the list with you. Divorce attorneys. Oh my gosh. Somebody just brought a model to me the other day, teaching divorce attorneys how to get clients financed after a divorce. Okay. There's actually techniques in order to do that that are very valuable to attorneys. So I actually had someone approach me about doing webinars to attorneys for that. I personally don't have the time to do that and would love to pass that knowledge along to someone else and maybe even help them build out the model to do webinars. Don't know. I'm open to all types of topics like that. So with that being said, short term is going to be your sphere of influence. Midterm is going to be possibly finding those audiences to hit for webinars, and long term is going to be building those professional relationships that will just refer you deals. Okay. So those are the 3 pillars to my business. And I feel it's ideal for people to look for all 3 pillars to be successful in real estate. So utilize referral programs. So obviously referral programs are great. I don't really do them. Open houses, I don't do those as much anymore. Although when you're first starting out, I am a big fan of open houses. But when you do an open house, okay, don't just do an open house with one. You want to be strategic about it. Okay. So I will touch on how I think you should do an open house. Me, when I first got into business, I would do 2 open houses on Sunday, maybe 1 or 2 even on Saturday. I would do 1 open house, kick the sign down, run to the next one and do another open house. So inefficient. I would never do that again. What I would do now is be very strategic. I would pick an open house in an area that has several other homes for sale. I would also partner up and do an open house with another agent. And at the same time that I'm doing that open house, I actually have appointments scheduled at the other ones. That way, if we get some quality people through, hey, have you seen some of these other open houses? Or have you been inside any of the other homes in the neighborhood? You take that person, hey, do you have some time? I'd be happy to take you through right now. If you have time to take somebody from one open house through to another house that doesn't have an open house, the credibility that you make with that person is off the charts. Now you are that hustler. Every time you do an open house, you're actually interviewing for a job. You're interviewing with everybody that comes through that door. So that's why I think it's important to do it with a buddy system. Make sure that obviously the open house you're doing is always manned. Never leave an open house, but make sure you have access to the other surrounding properties to get people in. Okay. If you walk away with one good customer from an open house, in my mind, you've done what you're there for. Okay. Sometimes you can pick up 2. So, and that's just my tips. As far as social media, I'm not a huge fan of social media the way I used to. I spent a fair amount of time doing, not LinkedIn, but Facebook and Instagram. And we still do that. We still put videos up there just to pass the time, just to maintain what traction we've developed. I'm a big fan on LinkedIn. Okay. There's so many business relationships to be had on LinkedIn. It's endless. Okay. We come up with a list of different spheres. Like I said, divorce attorneys, probates, foreclosures, you name it. There's 10 more that we could rattle off and identify people inside those industries and introduce educational value to them where we can slowly build relationships. Okay. And network with local businesses. I totally agree with that. I'm a big fan with some of the DPAs and grants and stuff that I do, leveraging some of the HR departments that are out there. Email marketing, it's not dead, but I am more of an SMS person. So I do a lot of texting. I get it, but that's just the demographic that I reach are heavy texters. So, but with that being said, let's move on here. Okay. Sustainable growth strategies. Like I said, focus on client retention through your sphere of influence. Try to grab as many testimonials as you can. For me, hard when in the beginning when you don't have too many testimonials, but one way to gather and build things in the future, especially with AI, is ongoing education. And that's what I'm doing right now. So find out what area you like, you specialize in, and invest on bringing education to that group. Okay. CRM is a must. Like I said, you got to get a name, you got to get full name, you got to have an email address, phone number, and a physical address where they are living. I'm going to stress the physical address where they are living. It is important that you have that for the future. Okay. It's going to allow you to build a moat around your database. And I'll touch on that on my database building area. Okay. So, and building that referral network. Again, that comes with some of those professional relationships. Once you figure out what sphere you want to play in with regards to real estate, there are ways to build referral networks out there through LinkedIn, and happy to teach people on that side as well. Okay. Inbound marketing. This is what I'm all about. So I do not like making outbound calls. I like people calling me. Okay. It makes it easy when people are reaching out to you. You have the trust, you have the authority, and you get that by doing things through your educational content that you're putting out there. Okay. So for the first week, we're going to teach you how I see the market right now and where I see the market going. Okay. Next week, we're going to go over building your brand. Okay. So think about what areas that you want to shine in. Do you want to be that divorce realtor, the foreclosure realtor, the probate realtor, the land realtor? I mean, there's a lot out there. So, but figure out what type of area you think you would enjoy, because people are smart. If they see that you're just going through the motions, spitting out education, they're not going to engage with you. Okay. But when you are teaching something that you're passionate about, you're going to find that people are naturally going to gravitate to you. And that's that inbound marketing approach that we want to do. Okay. Week number 3, we're going to teach you how to network and engage with those certain databases. And then week 4, we're going to teach you how to set everything up for growth strategies. Okay. Now, after that, I am all about having continuous, ongoing educational content, making sure that you are aware of all the tools that are out there and at your disposal, especially from an AI standpoint. I mean, I'm actually sitting down right now to build my AI bot. So for those of you that are in tune with AI, awesome. Okay. I use it a lot. Okay. It actually generated the slides for this presentation about 15 minutes ago for me. So just by putting it an outline in Prezi and spits it right out. So, but what I wanted to share with you, there's some new AI out there, and it's Claw, and OpenClaw is the one that I've been really focusing on lately. And imagine this. Imagine if you set up a little mini computer on your desk that you had all your email addresses go into, all your texts go into, everything into it. And it actually could return those emails. It'll go into your email and tell you, oh, by the way, you have an appointment next. It will set up your calendar. It will do everything. If you want to, a newsletter, I have a newsletter on LinkedIn. It pops up and says, hey, you got a newsletter due in 3 days. You want me to get started on that? crazy. So the amount of technology for an assistant is off the charts. So I'm actually putting mine together right now. I would encourage you to actually look at OpenClaw, okay, to try and leverage it for your business before even bringing on an assistant. So it's crazy what's going on out there right now in AI, to the point where I feel like the reason I want people to get hypersensitive in certain areas of the industry or certain segments of the industry is because the big boys are coming for those vanilla transactions. And like I said, the margins are going to get compressed. What they can't come after are the pain points, the things that are messy, okay? First-time home buyer, down payment assistance programs and grants, okay? Those are messy businesses, messy deals. And the reason they're messy is most lenders don't do more than one or two of them. Okay. So that's why there's no one lender that's ever going to own the market on it, because that's just not the way, they're just not designed for it. Okay. They may start to lean into them a little bit more heavily. Okay. There are some lenders that are leaning in a little bit more than others, but the big boys aren't. Okay. The big boys are all about, they're all about increasing the bottom line. So if they can do all of this work, if they can capture 20% of the marketplace using just AI to get people from A to Z and maintain the margins as much as they possibly can, imagine how much they're going to save in employee payroll. It's insane. I'm seeing it in my own backyard. Okay. So Rocket is the epitome of it. I mean, they basically put on a press release last year. They put $500 million into AI. So if you think that they're not going to be leveraging that to carve out a section of the industry that's going to be significant, I mean, think of it this way. They already have 17% of all the mortgages in the US. They already have the data. That's why I say it's important for you to get that information for your sphere of influence: name, email address, phone number, and address. That way we can build a moat around those people to make sure that they're getting consistent educational content. Because if you don't do it, I guarantee their current mortgage servicer is going to do it. Okay. So little over my 25-minute mark here. So opening it up for any questions out there. Okay. So here's a question. How do I see AI in the space over the next 3 years? I feel like you are going to see change in the mortgage world like you've never seen before. Anytime we get financial, we get technology change, it always enters the finance world first, because that's where they can yield the most benefit, and they have the dollars to put at it, develop it, and shape their bottom line by letting people go. Okay. So you're going to see the mortgage world is going to adopt this in a big way. Okay. So if you don't think Rocket's going to be leveraging and doubling and tripling down on this, you're crazy. They're going to be coming. Okay. Right now, they currently have 17% of the mortgage market. I'd be shocked if they aren't angling for 20, 25% in the next 3 years. That's just one behemoth. Okay. So do you want to focus on those deals that are, I don't know, in my market might be, $500,000 to $1 million? I mean, you can, but I think it's going to get more competitive, because those people, they're living busy lives. They can press a button, get a mortgage, and chances are they can be a little bit more competitive. It's also going to be, if you don't think press a button, buy a house is coming, I think you're mistaken. That technology already exists. People can press a button and buy a house right now. Okay. And what I mean by it exists, it's already developed and sitting on a shelf. They are just waiting for the time to implement it. So, and what I mean by that is when you go and apply for a mortgage, you give them everything. They know more about you than anyone else. So they have no problem giving someone a QR code that says, hey, this person's already pre-approved. Now imagine if that person just has to flash their phone onto a installed device in a front door that opens it up so they can look at it without an agent. And there'll be cameras in the house just for security. Okay. Now imagine you walk out and they go, hey, I'd like to make an offer. And now AI is going to be writing up that offer too. Crazy. They're already doing it. I mean, Redfin has the capability where they're paying agents to go around and just show houses. They have the capability to actually talk to AI and draft that offer before them when they're in between showings. As crazy as it sounds. Don't think it's I don't think it's broadcast nationwide yet, but the technology exists. Okay. So crazy what's actually out there and on the horizon. So I feel like the things that I'm going to show people over the next 30 days are, number one, like I said, we're going to take your sphere of influence and we're going to tighten it up so you can build a moat around it to protect yourself from AI penetrating it. Because what's going to happen is as people opt into some of these databases, they're going to get notices every time there's a real estate transaction in their neighborhood, anytime there's a price drop, anytime something goes in the market, anytime it sells. They have all the metrics. They know when people are moving before we do. Okay. And they have for quite some time. So we need to build a moat around your current sphere of influence. The next thing is we need to pick out what sleeve of real estate do you want to shine in, because you need to shine someplace where it's messy. Okay. The bigger the mess, the more secure your job will be. And I say that messy stuff gets to be like foreclosure or down payment assistance or probates or divorce law or land. There's a lot of different sleeves out there. We could just sit back and spitball and come up with a lot of niches to tap into. But I think the quicker you identify that, the quicker you can start building a roadmap to it and become an authority in that space. So the people that need help with those pain points will reach out to you for that inbound traffic we talk about. And then I also think that you need to think about broadcasting this educational content like I'm doing right now. Broadcast it to whatever niche you're going after. Me, I love first-time home buyers. So I do webinars every Wednesday for that. In addition, I find the biggest pain points for first-time home buyers are maybe their credit isn't in good shape. I do webinars for that. So you've got to find the different pain points where you can introduce value to become that authority. That way, your email is always full. Your voicemail is always full. You've got inbound leads consistently raining on you. So that's it for today. So thank you all very much for watching. Next one is going to be this Friday at noon, and we're going to start jumping into some of the details for the first week. So the end of the first week, which is going to be building your sphere of influence and creating an AI-proof database. Okay, so that's what we're going to focus on Friday. Then week number 2. Okay, after that, things are going to go on Mondays and Wednesdays at noon. Week number 2, we're going to do social media platforms. Which ones are actually working for agents in 2026 on Monday? And then on Wednesday, we're going to do quick wins, fast ways to pick up your first buyers. Okay. And then week number 3, first session on Monday, picking your niche, teaching you how to stand out in the crowd and why you want to specialize, why it's profitable, different case studies. So you need to be prepared to declare your niche by then. And then week number 3, session number 6, which is a Wednesday, providing educational value and content that builds your brand. Okay, so you're going to need to figure out building your brand. We want you to become the authority in whatever space you want to be in. And then week number 4, using AI to build authority and generate value. All kinds of tools out there, and webinars and live lessons, how to build trust and authority through webinars. Okay, love them. They're not very challenging to do. You just need to have the right tools in place to do it. And I am always looking for people that want to expand their business doing webinars. So there's with the amount of experience that I have in the industry, there's very few niches that I haven't tapped on. So I'm comfortable speaking on virtually all of those topics. It's just a function of having people in place to handle the leads that come in. So anyways, I appreciate your time today, and hope our paths cross real soon. So I'll look forward to seeing everybody. Friday is our next one at 12 o'clock. Have a great day, everyone.